takes every kind of people. Welcome to Everyday Impact. We're calling this segment. You are on 98.5 and this is Weekdays with Mike. Good morning and welcome to the studio. Once again, Kelly from the Foxglove Project. Good morning and welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm here on this gorgeous day, and it's lovely having a friend in the studio with us.
Now, we've been hearing some amazing stories of people that are living in our street. We might pass them in the shop. We might walk straight past them every day, and don't realise they're doing amazing things, not only locally within our nation, but across the globe. Would you like to introduce your special guest this morning, Kelly?
Yeah, and I think that's what we kind of think the segment's about, is identifying the people who are just sitting in our communities and have just said yes to doing something really fabulous. So today I've got my friend Christie Fergusson, and Christie, I've actually known Christie for 35 years or something.
Right.
But just in the last year
when she was born.
Yeah, yeah. What does that make me? I'm not sure. But anyway, young. But and Christie actually leads an organisation now called Hope's Hill. But I love the fact, Christie, that you've actually just got this going in the last 12 months, and your first initiative is in Kenya. So tell us about Hope's Hill first of all, and what it's about.
Okay, well, Hope's Hill is our charity, and we had a family dinner last year around at my dad's place, and my stepmother had seen a documentary. And the documentary was in Kisumu in Kenya, and they were saying that every 2 minutes a child dies of malaria.
Oh, golly.
And she
Sorry,
knows
hang on. What was that? Every what?
Every 2 minutes a child dies of malaria.
2 minutes?
Yeah.
Wow.
So she knows that my friend Natalie is a missionary in Kisumu, Kenya. So she put the dots together and she brought it up in conversation at the table. And then, of course, my dad is an extraordinarily generous person. And he said, oh, well, let's buy some nets. Let's cover the kids.
Mosquito nets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so...
what a simple kind of solution that's often available. Yeah.
He said, go and ask Nat about it. So I go and ask Nat. And she says, yeah, it's a great idea, but it's a reportable disease. It's one of the top 3 killers of infectious diseases worldwide. Malaria, HIV and tuberculosis. So that's how it really started. I just had to follow the breadcrumbs of, we couldn't just buy nets, we had to do it in an official capacity. Yeah. So then I thought, who do I know who does this type of thing? Oh, ring Kelly Chisholm.
And hence the connection.
There we go. And so that's isn't it amazing though, how many people hear those stories and think it's not, what can I do?
Yeah. And this started purely from having a family dinner.
Yep.
And the conversation started. What happened? Did a spark go off for you? Like how did it resonate with you?
Yeah, it did actually. I just thought, oh, I really want to do this. Okay, well, I'll just jump in and see what happens.
And what do you actually do now? So what is the name of the project you're actually leading as?
So our Australian group is Hope's Hill, and our first project for our Hope's Hill charity is Nets for Nights Kenya project. We are raising money for insecticide-treated mosquito bed nets for children aged 3 to 5 and vulnerable groups, which are HIV positive.
So you're sending those from Australia across to Kenya?
No, they'll buy them there.
Yeah.
The nets have to be government approved there. You can't just buy any old net.
Okay.
So it all has to be at an official level here, and then over there, Natalie has to follow all the rules. Yeah. It all has to be reported, who gets the net, when they get the net, all that kind of stuff.
And distribution, because it's really important. Otherwise, these things become trading items in the developing world.
Is this something that every house would hold, every family would have, or want to get access to?
Oh, they absolutely do want to get access to. Yeah.
How many people live in that area? What's the population of the area that you're working in?
16 million.
Oh.
In the town.
Wow. 16 million people.
16 million people. Get your head around that,
wow.
Eh?
We'll take a break. We'll come back and chat some more. You are on 98.5 Weekdays with Mike. Kelly from the Foxglove Project is with me, along with Christie Fergusson from Hope's Hill, and we're talking about Nets for Nights, this Kenya project. Back after this one. Mike joining me in the studio this morning is Kelly from Foxglove Project, and also Christie Fergusson. We've been from Hopes Hill. We're talking about Nets for Nights' Kenya project. Christie, you had family dinner. The idea just randomly came up as you were having dinner with a family.
Yeah.
What's the next step when you get it? I mean, I'm sure we've all had ideas, Rob. We all think, "Oh, I'd love to do that." How do you even start? Like, what does that look like?
Well, I reached out to Kel, and I had a coffee with Kel. I hadn't actually seen you for like a long time.
A long time.
And so she sort of put a little bit of flesh to it, of this is what you kind of need to do a little bit. And then you start talking about it with friends, and you'd be surprised of who comes along and says, "Oh my gosh, I've always wanted to do something like that.
Yeah.
What can I do to help?"
Yeah.
So I had all these amazing people, Kathy Dixon, Alex Williams, like superbly accomplished people come along and say, "I want to help you."
And, you know, that's the thing. There's people who are waiting. They want to get involved, but they don't always know where to start. So when you've kind of got an idea. Now, I love the fact that you know a lot about the issue, about malaria and about, you know, the incidence of it. But you also had this benefit, which it's serendipitous, right? But it's also amazing of having a friend living, childhood friend, who is now living in that part of Kenya and running a non-government organisation.
Yeah, that's Nat.
Yeah.
She's gorgeous. I've known Nat for 35 years. We met in Children's Church. Philip Baker was our Children's Church pastor.
Yeah.
And her mother was a missionary, and so took them to the mission field. Nat came back to Australia a couple of different times to do Bible college and what have you, but we've stayed really close friends all of that time. And her organisation over there also is they do stuff with HIV patients, they do stuff with postnatal fistula. They're funded by a global fund and the Fistula Foundation for that. Plus, they also do a lot of leadership. So this fits quite alongside what they're already doing. So I pitched the idea to her, and she said, "Let me think about it." And, you know, within hours, she's like, "Yep, great, that works for us."
Wow.
They already have about 200 volunteer health workers that do those other things for them.
Yes.
So our project will come alongside that and
Piggybacks.
Yep.
You've already got the
Yep.
infrastructure.
Yeah, already has relationships in the community with, you know, the schools and all those kind of things that we need to connect with.
So how long does this last for? I mean, you mentioned 16 million people earlier, which is a lot of people. Hypothetically, you know, you reach a point where there's all these nets that are distributed to protect. Has it got an end date, do you think?
Well, science has been looking for a vaccine for 100 years.
100 years?
Yeah.
100 years for
And-
malaria. Gosh, we've come up with
Hang
COVID.
on a minute.
What-
We've just come up with COVID.
Yeah.
Hello, what's going on there?
The problem is
That's a whole nother
that
story.
Yeah, what is the problem when you say that?
the protein that carries the virus,
Yeah.
or the parasite, sorry,
Yes.
it mutates.
Yes.
So they find a drug that works, and then this carrier protein mutates.
Yes.
And then it no longer works. Because what happens when the mosquito bites a person is that
So it's a mosquito carried, which
Yeah.
is, you know, and they're largely at night. They're largely the night
Yep.
mosquitoes, aren't they?
Yep. And it injects the parasite into the person, and the parasite goes to the liver, it proliferates there, goes into the bloodstream, and goes into the red cells, and it proliferates, and then the red cells burst, and you get this fever, and it affects all your organs and all that kind of stuff. So
There's people who keep getting re-incidents of this years later, isn't it? So malaria is one of those. Yeah, it is.
Well,
The symptoms come back.
yeah, no, actually that's not true. Kel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, there you
sorry.
go.
We're getting an education here, Kelly.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
okay.
I
Well,
don't-
there you go.
Back to you, Christy.
But people do get malaria on average 6 times. In the people
Wow.
who live in Africa, on
Wow.
average 6 times. Yeah. So once they are working on this vaccine, and I think in the next decade they might actually have something, because they're working on it in a different way now that I just.
And isn't that a really, you know, I think that's actually fantastic. We kind of, as you say, come in and we do our bit.
Yeah. Until then,
We're not the answer.
we have to cover these kids in nets, and we have to do local spraying
Yes.
like they do. And other countries without a vaccine have been rid of malaria through spraying, nets, and what.
So it's
they do.
worked.
So it does work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And predominantly you were talking about, was it mainly 5 and under? That's the main target? It's
so
for the
5
kids?
and under are the children who are the ones that are most vulnerable.
That's what I was going to say. Why have you targeted that age group?
So 229 million people in the world every year get malaria.
Yeah.
Over 400,000 die. 94% of that is in sub-Saharan Africa, where we are. And 64% of that is children under 5. But it's children under 5 because it's like here, our children get common cold and they're all building their immune system, and we give them Panadol and stuff like that. And they're, you know what it's like when your kids are little? They're always getting sick.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They
The
are.
kids over there, it's the same thing. They're still building their immune system and they haven't built it properly yet. So
Interesting.
And it's a disease that is catastrophe, isn't it?
exactly.
We'll take a break. We'll come back and talk some more. You are on 98.5 Weekdays with Mike. Joining me in the studio this morning is Kelly from Fox Club Project, along with Christie Fergusson. We've been talking about these nets for nights, this Kenya project. Back after this one. Catch up with Club Project, along with Christie. We've been talking about these nets for nights, which, did you say last March you started this, Christie? Is that right?
This month.
Was it this March?
This March.
This literally months ago.
But about a year ago, you kind of got going on it, but it just takes a while to form something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gosh, I love hearing people's stories.
Oh, yes, so do
Oh,
I.
my.
Why is this the first time you've really, I guess, stepped out and kind of into this adventure?
Yes, it is.
First time?
Yep.
And later in life?
Yep. Yep, absolutely.
She's young, please.
Oh, well,
Later in life.
I made comment to that earlier, actually. About the 35 years ago, do you remember, Kelly? Tell us about, you were just mentioning off air some of this amazing adventure you did a few years ago. Tell us about that.
I climbed Kilimanjaro in January 2020. I think sometimes after you've done something like that, because when I got to the top, I thought it was a lifelong dream.
Yeah.
I thought, oh my gosh.
It was a lifelong dream to climb Kilimanjaro. Is that right?
Yep. I did it.
Which is in Tanzania.
Yep.
Not far off the Kenya border. It's right up there. It's right on the border.
Yeah.
So you're in the right pocket for where you ended up working as well, which is quite interesting, hey?
Yeah.
What was that like? Was that challenging?
Oh, it was incredible. Incredible. Beautiful,
How long did
challenging.
it take you to climb?
Well, you can choose the journey that you do. I did it in 8 days. And the altitude sickness is just beyond your wildest imaginations.
Wow.
Yeah. But you just put one foot in front of the other and you keep going, and you don't get altitude sickness all day, every day. You get it, in
For
bits and
periods, do
pieces.
you? Just
Yep.
periods in the day?
Yep.
Wow. So what happened when you what were you feeling? What was running through your mind when you took that final step?
I just cried. And my guide that was with me
gosh.
hugged me, and all my team that I had been walking with, we were all crying. Everybody does that, and then you have your photo taken, and then you get off there because it's so cold up the top. And then you go down, and then you're exhausted and you sleep. And so, yeah.
And so that was kind of this adventure. And I think to
I
myself,
love adventure.
and tell me, do you reckon that's part of what you're doing even with Nets for Nights and Hopes Hill?
Probably. I think it really showed me how brave I am.
Okay.
And so when this project came up, I thought to myself, well, why not have a go? What's the worst that can happen? Nothing. Best that can happen, you create a charity and you save a few lives.
Is that not a fantastic thing when you say you feel brave now?
Yeah, I do feel brave.
And you think you didn't feel as brave before? Yeah. And you also, I guess, you had priorities of family and...
Yeah, I think when you kids and, family, you're busy with all of that. And my youngest is in year 12 now. He's doing his year 12 exams, and they don't need you as much.
No.
And you can put your headspace into other things.
Yes.
And that's what I'm doing.
And sometimes people think they've missed that opportunity.
No.
Yeah, they think I had this passion when I was 20 and 25.
This
and
is
now...
when I did have this passion to do something to change the world. When I came
you?
back from Kenya the first time I visited
And when was
Natalie,
that?
when I was 17. Wow. And I thought,
Wow. Okay.
I don't know what I'm going to do. And then I thought, as my life went on, clearly I'm not going to do anything. And then all of a sudden I've gone back to that, really.
Isn't that...
17. What's the gap, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I'm 49 this month.
There we go. What an encouragement. What an inspiration.
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah.
30 years
Yeah.
have passed and it's not over. The dream wasn't over. It just had to kind of be sidetracked for a little while you had other priorities. But now you can give it your best of your days.
And then it just gets better and better and better and
Wow.
better. And then you get to meet other people who are also living out their dreams like that. And then you'll become mates, and it's just great.
Yeah.
So good. We'll take a break. We'll come back and talk some more. You are on 98.5 Weekdays with Mike. Back after this one. And joining me in the studio is Kelly and Christie. We've been hearing an amazing story, and we're calling this segment Everyday Impact, and it's the perfect title because it's everyday people, and all of the people that we've spoken to, Kelly, seem to I've noticed they seem to downplay everything, the amazing things they're doing. It's like, oh yeah, I've just done this and I've just done this. It's like we're going, what?
I know. It is funny, but I think when you're the person, you just see yourself as being so normal. And I think it's only the external people who think, oh, that's amazing. But you think, oh, I just did it one day at a time, one step at a time. I just climbed Kilimanjaro, just 8 days. That was it.
I'm thinking 8 days sickness. There's no way I'm doing that. I really admire you. Well done. That's
fitness-wise, it must be incredibly demanding.
Yeah. And mentally as well. Hey, just to finish off today, what would you say, Christie, to inspire someone? You had the dream when you were 17 and it happened 30 odd years later. Amazing. It's never too late. What would you say to someone that's got a dream, had an idea and think, I'd love to do something, but often we get held back and we don't take that next step? No. What would be your encouragement today?
I would say just start talking about it with a few people. I would say reach out, be brave and reach out to people that you know have done it before. Like I knew that you had done it, Kel. And then get amongst those people, because that's really where your faith is built, is amongst those other people's. You start to think, they did it, I did it. And then you start
to get
talking about
thinking.
Well, how do I do this and how do I do that? And you might get a little snippet of information from this one, a snippet from that one. And anybody who is not encouraging, just leave them behind and just forge on.
Now, there's some good advice if I've ever heard it. But that is so true, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, because there'll be a lot of people who say,
see all the obstacles.
Negative. And I'm like the ultimate optimist. I'm probably a pain in people's butt. But, Natalie and I are very much, don't tell us that it can't be done, because we will find a way. And
because there's always roadblocks, there's always opportunities
in everything
to give it up.
in life. There's roadblocks. And my dad is like that too. He was very successful in his business, and he was always the man that could stand there and look at the project and say, okay, here are the obstacles. This is what we need to do about it. So I probably have that in me from him. Yeah.
And I reckon even if you don't, gather yourself with people who have got that in them. Because if you've got the passion and the dream and you think, I need someone else who can help me get past the obstacles, you just gather that person into your team.
Yeah.
You don't have to be everything.
Yep.
I love
just
that.
Be brave.
Be brave.
Jump in.
Be
That's
brave.
my
I do
advice.
like it.
Well, that's been a great chat. That's been very inspiring.
Yeah, it is.
It's been great hearing your story, and it's only just begun, really. I mean, you have started this only in March this year, so looking forward to see how it all progresses over the coming years, Christie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And who knows the twists and turns that are going to happen?
Yeah.
Because that's actually the great adventure.
Absolutely. We're ready for it.
Very good. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
My guest in the studio this morning has been Kelly from the Fox Club Project, and the little segment we're calling Everyday Impact. And we heard from Christie Fergusson from Hope's Hill, an Australian charity. It's supporting the Nets for Nights Kenya project, working to protect the vulnerable by providing insecticide-treated bed nets, providing protection to children from deadly malaria-carrying mosquitoes in Kenya. You're on 98.5, and this is Weekdays with Mike.
Catch up with today's guest